And so they're going somewhere, right? They're on a journey. They're headed somewhere out of the city. And, as we leave 2018, head into 2019, we're all on a journey, right? We're all going somewhere. We're all headed somewhere. We maybe have some hopes and some dreams for the next year. We're maybe trying to figure out what the next year holds, but we're all going somewhere. And for the people in this procession, where they were going was determined by what they didn't have. In other words, where they were going was determined by what they had lost. They're headed out of the city, but they're headed out of the city to bury something. And the direction of their progression was determined by what they didn't have. And I think that sometimes that's how you and I decide our direction in life. Because a lot of times the choices that we make and the ways that we go in life and the direction that we pursue in life, a lot of times is really a response to what we don't have. I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to make something happen. I'm trying to be where I'm not yet. I'm trying to get what I don't yet have. And the truth is that I'm all about being aspirational, but a lot of times our direction in life is determined by what we don't have, by what was lost, by those dreams that didn't come true, and maybe just by that thing that we want so desperately, but yet we don't have it. And so the whole course of my life is directed by a determination to get something that I don't have. And this is the funeral procession. It's interesting how this procession was coming out of the city. The city was called Nain. Nain in Hebrew means pleasant place, lovely place. And that's such a cool word, because that's exactly God's intention for your life. That you would live in a pleasant place, that you would live in a lovely place. That God's plan for you is always good, and God always created you for good things, right? You believe that? But yet, they're not going towards the good place. They're going out of the pleasant place. Why? Because they're driven by what they don't have. And as you head into 2019, I wonder what's driving you. You're being driven by what you don't have, by what you wish was different. And I'm going to make it happen this time. I'm going to make it for real. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do everything in my power. And the truth is that sometimes that we can have the attitude heading into a year, but coming out of a year, it's kind of like, well, what I was hoping for this past year maybe didn't really get fully realized, right? But yet I'm driving on. And so there's this progression, this procession directed by what they don't have. And Jesus shows up, timed perfectly, by the way. Jesus shows up and he disrupts the procession. And he disrupts where these people are going. And he shows up, and I love his heart, because he shows up, and here's what he says. This is in Luke chapter 7. It says that he went up to the mom because she was crying, as you would, right? He went up to the mom, and it says, when the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said to her, "Don't cry." How good is our God, that he's not afraid of our messy moments, right? I'm crying over here because I don't have something that I wish I had. I'm freaking out because life isn't what I wanted it to be. And yet Jesus meets her right there at the place of her crying. And he comes with comfort and says, "Don't cry." Because Jesus understood the pain. And Jesus got why she was upset totally. And he says, "I don't want you to cry." But when Jesus disrupts something, he always brings something more than just comfort. Now, don't get me wrong. He'll comfort you wherever you are. He'll come and bring peace wherever you are tonight. But he doesn't just come to comfort. He always comes to transform. Well, when he shows up, he doesn't just come to be nice to you. He comes to change you. And he comes to change what's going on in your life, right? You with me tonight? And so Jesus, he goes up to the mom, he says, "Don't cry." But then he's like, "But I'm not having any of this." And so he goes up to the boy, the dead kid, being carried out on like a stretcher. And he goes up and he touches the stretcher and he says, "Hey, get up." And see, And see, one word from Jesus, one moment with Jesus, one encounter with the grace of Jesus changes everything. And that's why tonight, I don't want to go to church. I want to have an encounter with Jesus. I don't want to go to church. I want to have an encounter with this grace that isn't afraid to say to dead things, hey, come on, stop being dead. It's time to get up. And of course, what happens when Jesus says this? Well, the dead man sat up and began to talk. And Jesus gives him back to his mom.